Not
Mike.
Mike. We got the sirens, but we don't have Mike.
Here we go. How about
There
that?
we
There
go.
he is.
There
Hello,
we go.
Michael.
All right.
Is that Carolina blue? You're looking.
It's not. It's no denomination. It's a brand called Psycho Bunny.
Psycho Bunny.
Yeah.
Got to get me some free Psycho Bunny
you guys
swag,
Mike.
Mike.
You got to get hipper with the Psycho Bunny stuff. Come on, man.
Yeah. I need hipness.
Yeah.
So I need Psycho
Yeah,
Bunny
You look
swag.
good in a Psycho Bunny hat, John.
Yeah.
You're talking to two guys who got no shot at hipness. We know you might be able to pull it off, Miss Ellie, but we got no chance whatsoever. You might have caught the conversation Don and I were having right before we punched you up, and I know you're the line is telling you something kind of guy, so you might buy into this as well. Are you getting nervous at all, Mike, that everyone, and when I say everyone, I mean everyone, is picking the Philadelphia Eagles as the best team in the NFC this year? Does that unnerve you at all?
No, and here's why. Because they're good. I can't look at somebody and say, well, they're overrating the Eagles. I think they're legitimately evaluated. They're deep. This roster construction is about as solid roster construction that you can come up with. Now, what can derail that? I guess injuries can derail that. A lack of performance from somebody you expect to perform. But, on paper, you look at it and go, like, why wouldn't you be optimistic about this? Why wouldn't you pick that team as the best team in the NFC at this point? To me, it's declarative, and it's not trying to be a homer. I just have to give them credit for what they built here.
Yeah. I'm with you. And I would add, if you're looking on paper, you got to pick somebody else. If you're not picking the Eagles, and
who is
you
it?
do that on the AFC side, you can't do it on the NFC side.
No, you can't. I mean, you can make the case, John, for the 49ers and that revenge situation, but the Eagles are just better. They're more secure of a team right now, except for a couple of areas that were kind of like,
linebacker.
The linebacker situation, the safety situation, but these are things that shouldn't derail the wholeness of what they are. I mean, they're looking at their offensive line here. They pick up Dennis Kelly as a fortified backup guy, and they're deep at the right guard position. And if they have to move somebody to center, they can plug Steen in. And it's like they've planned for every contingency. And the running back depth of spending like $7 million for 4 guys, and the one guy being a dynamic guy who fits them perfectly in DeAndre Swift. I mean, what can happen wrong? Injuries, bad luck, I guess.
Yeah. Injuries, but that's, stipulated with every team. Injuries could always derail you, but on paper, you're right. But we'll give you the but, Mike. My thought process is there are going to be more hiccups this year because they do have to replace coaches for the first time. They do have to replace 7 starters from a Super Bowl team. They've done it very well, at least on paper. They plan for certain things. Obviously, Nakobe Dean, the plan was for him always to be the starter this year at one of those linebacker positions. The plan was always, we're going to lose Isaac Seumalo. We got Cam Jurgens. We drafted Tyler Steen. They were going to get 2 of the 3 D-backs back. They did. They probably didn't get the 2 we thought, but they got 2 of the 3 back. Change, though, is significant, and there's got to be a little bit of a growing process there. That, to me, and from doing the postgame show, in the moment, people are going to be upset from maybe an upset loss or even a lacking of style points. You know how it goes in this city better than anyone. That's what, are they prepared for that? I think they are. They have some hiccups and they right the ship because everybody else stinks.
Yeah, the coordinator situation is a really good point. And so let's focus on the defense. Gannon performed last year. Everybody hated him. This guy is more of okay, pass rush. Let's get some more takeaways, secondary oriented, right? So if you look at the pass rush, you count on one guy, absolutely. The other side, you wonder about. Can they get a consistent pass rush? Can Sweat step up? I don't know, Derek Barnett, can they get anything out of him? I have no idea whether he's still going to be on the team. It's, we're picking at straws here. Like, okay, let's see what could possibly, where they could be weak. They could be weak at linebacker. They could be weak at safety. But I'm looking at the schedule, and I can't see less than 11 wins. And with 11 and the number being 11 and a half, you look at that gauntlet of 6 straight games where they would have to win one of those games that you don't expect to give them a guaranteed 12. And maybe they win 2 of those to give them a guaranteed 13. And I go, okay, who's going to do that in the NFC to get a number 1 seed? And if you got a number 1 seed, you're in the driver's seat.
I would agree there. That's why I'm with the Eagles as the best team in the NFC. I'm just getting nervous because everybody else is with me. And I give you one guy who won't be your partner on Sundays. So I think Seth Joyner will be pointing out the Eagles linebacker play quite often. Get ready for that, Mr. Nelly. That'd be a week in, week out thing for you, big guy.
He may, but he hated Gannon so bad that I think that like he's going to be held at bay this year. Like he was so over the top against Gannon that I think he's almost going to be delighted to see something different.
I think Seth is going to be disappointed, man. They're playing the same damn scheme, Mike. Same damn scheme. And by the way, Nick Sirianni wants this defense. He wants this defense. Nick Sirianni, and by the way, it's not only Nick Sirianni. Sean McVay has said it. A bunch of offensive guys have said it. The big Fangio scheme. They think it's the most difficult to deal with. And that's why they instruct their defensive coaches, I want this. I don't know if Jonathan Gannon is going to play that in Arizona because he came from, I think it's one of the most interesting stories from a Philadelphia perspective because he came from Mike Zimmer, who doesn't play that defense. He doesn't play that scheme. Nick Sirianni wants this scheme. I think Denard Wilson was going to change it. And that's why Denard Wilson isn't here. And he went out and he got another Fangio disciple. They're going to play the same damn defense. But here's the difference, Mike. Sean Desai is more savvy to play it up for the Philadelphia fans, whether it's because he was at Temple. You saw his opening press conference. He used terms all DCs do, aggressive. He used palpable. He's better at branding. But the scheme, the philosophy, same.
Okay.
Same.
Well, I think Philadelphia fans will, if they can be conned by that, they'll be conned by it. Then they'll be a little happier. Nobody likes Gannon.
Couple will buy the words, right?
Nobody likes him at all. Like, I can't imagine there's going to be the same venom for this guy. At least he gets a honeymoon.
All right, let me throw out a question mark for the Eagles this year, and I haven't changed on this, even though the coach vehemently disagrees with me. The Eagles are a good team for 53-man roster, better than everybody else. Third wide receiver. And you could go, Jody, it's third. Stop. We're talking about A.J. Smith and, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Why are you picking on the third wide receiver? Everybody has a third wide receiver on the field almost every play in the NFL anymore. It's not like it's the third wide receiver sitting on the bench. No, he's on the field almost every play because everybody goes 3 wideouts. Your faith in Quez Watkins coming into the season. The coach seems to have plenty. Jody McDonald has very little. How about Mike Missanelli?
I'm a flat line on him. I don't usually buy into the hype of a mini camp where everybody says, "Oh, look, he looks a lot better." Blah blah blah. He had a toughness to acquire. You don't acquire that unless you play in competition. So you're right to look at that. I can't say that he's going to be any better. Like I'm not conned into thinking it. So he's going to have to prove it, and we'll see. And if he doesn't prove it, I don't know. Can Zacchaeus be a factor for them? You're right. It's not the best situation ever, but it's balanced by the running back situation. The way I look at it, I think DeAndre Swift is going to be amazing in this offense. I really do. I think they're going to get the ball to him in space, and it's going to be a highlight for them.
By the way, it's also balanced, Mike, by A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith.
Yeah,
when
they're
they
pretty
first
good.
started. Yeah,
I think they're
when
pretty
first-
good. They might be all right. Yeah.
It is funny though.
And
We talk.
then tight end.
Yeah.
Listen, who has those two and the tight end combination?
Yeah.
You know, it's the top 3 in the league if you bunch those 3 there.
Yeah. Now it's funny because we're talking about the Eagles, and Jody and I do this every day, obviously. And we talk about third receiver and we talk about right guard, whereas other teams are worried about significant positions. And I'm going to go that route again with backup quarterback. Did you see Netflix's Quarterback? And if you did, you saw Marcus Mariota. I want to say this, Mike. I think everybody thinks the Eagles are better at backup quarterback. I don't think that's necessarily the case. And I know they don't like Gardner Minshew, but boy, nobody knows how important backup quarterback is. And you hope Jalen's out there for 17 games. History says he's going to miss 1 or 2 at least. I don't think they improved at backup quarterback.
On paper, did they improve? I don't know. The style, I think, is more conducive to what they can do with their playbook. So I don't really have a problem with Marcus Mariota. I wasn't a big Minshew guy. So I think Mariota can do a couple more things that they like. I don't share that same concern. Backup quarterback, but this starter's so hardy that
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. But if you need a game,
I know I'll cross that.
If you need a game late, I don't know.
You trust Minshew more than you trust Mariota to give you a game in case you need it. Is what you're saying?
A little bit. He was
How about
good
you,
last
Jody?
year.
Yeah, here's where John and I we did yesterday. We're again today. The whole thought process. I'm a results-oriented guy. Last time I checked, Minshew went 0 for 2 last year. So how much worse could Mariota be? If he plays 2 games and he loses them both, he's the same as Gardner Minshew. He's no worse. So, yeah, I think that they're perfectly fine at back.
Minshew, it's funny because Minshew, like a lot of athletes in Philadelphia, had an immunity because of who he was. And you're right. He was at the end of the day, he was 0-2, but he was.
Well, I would argue from that standpoint, Mike, Marcus is going to get, because they all wanted him when he was drafted. All the chip, do the deal. They still think he's the same guy. By the way, he was never that guy. He should have never been the number 2 pick in the draft. It was never a good NFL starting quarterback. But he'll always have that. Jody and I also talk about pedigree all the time. He's got the pedigree, right? Well, he's forever the number 2 pick. Except he's never played like the number 2.
Forget about his pedigree, because that's long gone, John. I agree. But can he make more plays than Minshew on a football field?
Well, that's my concern. And by the way, this is not that Gardner can make a lot of plays. I just think Gardner's a good backup quarterback. And Jody's right, but he played well. He played really 3 games here, because and he played well in 2 of them. The Jets, he was lights out. The year prior, he was tremendous. People say just the Jets.
The Jet guy, I'll tell you, the Jet defense sucked.
And
he lit up a real bad Jet defense. I wouldn't even say lit up. He played pretty damn well against a really bad Jet defense that day. I know. I was in the stadium. I watched it. They were a bad defense.
But he played very well. That's all you can do if you're out there. Against Dallas, he played very well. He had the 2 big interceptions, but kept him in the game against a very good football team. And I put more of the blame on Quez Watkins for both of those throws. Now, they could have been better throws, but you got to fight for the football. And then he played 1 terrible game. He was terrible. All
right, so 3rd and 8. Minshew can complete a pass, maybe. Mariota can also. But Mariota could also break out and make that first down that Minshew can't. Right? Am I right?
Maybe the early. Yeah, Marcus is still.
He can still get out there.
He's still got some juice. But if you watch the show, and I assume you'll get to it eventually, but it's a very good show. Marcus does not come across great. I will say it that from a performance standpoint, And then also, he had a lot of personal issues. He was having a kid and all that kind of stuff when they're thinking about benching him. But he left the team as well. Did not come across great.
Yeah, I'll go out on a limb and say Marcus Mariota does not have a 3 turnover day like Gardner Minshew did last year.
Well, let's see if Quez helps him out.
There won't be Quez. He'll be smart enough not to throw it to Quez in traffic.
Until John just brought this up, I hadn't worried about that backup quarterback.
Hey, what are we going to do, Mike? We got to it. The training camp hasn't even started.
Now
backup quarterback. The reason Jalen Hurts is here is because the Eagles value backup quarterback so much. So think of it that way. They're usually on the cutting edge of caring about backup quarterback because who has, especially recent history, they won a stinking Super Bowl with the backup quarterback, Mike.
I'm trying to get through the rest of the summer without any worries. And McCullough just gave me like a week now to think about this dreaded backup quarterback situation.
All right, Mikey missed a first-round draft pick in the NFL this past year. Got caught going 140 miles an hour in a 55 zone yesterday. And it wasn't the Eagles pick. That's a good thing. It was Jordan Addison of the Minnesota Vikings out there doing a $140 in a 55 zone.
You don't even get arrested for that now? You don't even get arrested for going 145 and a 55 or whatever.
140 and a 55.
140 and a 55.
A little over the limit.
These guys have the need for speed, man. These young kids. I guess it's always been the same. Like Springsteen used to write about it in his song. So everybody has the need for speed.
Yeah. Get the signing bonus. Get a Lamborghini. Yeah, that's what you need.
You think Henry Ruggs would have taught these kids something, but
I don't think they're invincible, man. They feel invincible. They get behind a big machine.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, it's a big machine. I got to roar it.
Yeah, the Vikings wish it was a DeLorean so they could go back in time and not take the kid.
Shot on goal score. Does Dom DeLisandro know right now what Jalen Carter is driving? Because the Eagles are supposed to be cutting edge and staying on top of it. He'd say, I'd want to know what the hell Jalen Carter's driving, what he did with that signing bonus, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Dom's probably on it. But Jalen Carter is listed as the starter right now on their depth chart.
Well, there's no official depth chart, but I think if you look at most guys, I mean, most of us expect him to start. I expect him to start. I mean, this kid is uber talented. He's the best player in the draft, talent-wise. He's different from that perspective. If he doesn't get in trouble, if he does what he's supposed to do, I'd be stunned if he's not a starter, Mike. He's that
Davis
talented.
Is part of the rotation.
Well, no, Jordan Davis, they play the 50 front, which is the 5-man front, and he's the nose tackle. So they have 3 starters inside. So it'll be Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, Jalen Carter. And then when they go to the 40 front, the 4-man front in the pass rushing situation, then Davis comes off the field. And it's Carter, Cox, Reddick, Sweat in theory.
You're pretty deep, man. And Milt Williams is in that bag. I look at him and I go, and I'm trying to compare them against other teams in the conference, and I go, well, I can't make a case for anybody else but them. So,
defensive line,
they're pretty good. In Philadelphia, it's funny because when a team is good, like you create little cracks and little weaknesses and what could go wrong, but majoritively, this team is one of those teams that's good and it's going to be there, and I think we all know it.
Yeah, Mikey Miss, you did the whole Sports Talk Radio thing forever. You knew how much this town liked to analyze every word the coach used. You and I go all the way back to Kotite, where I felt bad for that poor fool. They would snip his foolish things to say to make him look even worse than he was. He did a good enough job shooting himself in the foot, but they make him look even worse than he was. When Doug Peterson won the Super Bowl, he came up with the new norm. That this is the new norm. We have to get used to being the defending champions and the like. And then his whole offensive line got hurt, and he didn't have much of a shot thereafter. How is Sirianni going to handle this year? What do you think his message is going to be first out of the blocks when they open up camp, defending NFC champions, not Super Bowl champions? Does he use that as, yeah, but we didn't finish? Does he go down the road of unfinished business? How do you think Sirianni handles what he says about his Eagle team as camp opens up?
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you just said. Unfinished business, a way to motivate him to get him to the next level. He's one of those guys that obviously can't be satisfied because they didn't win it. So this helps him with the work ethic that the team needs. He still has that kind of that young high school kind of rally around mentality, and that's what I think he's going to do. Don't stop here. One of those type of messages. And it's funny, because we haven't really heard a lot about him this offseason. And I wonder if people are yet 100% sold on him. I think last year they kind of grew on people. Are they 100% sold on him? Is he the guy that the fans want to have as the leader in battle at this point? Has he earned that yet? I don't know.
I think so. I mean, he's the panderer in chief, Mike. I mean, he's got the Phillies gear, he's got the Sixers gear, he's got the Flyers gear.
You're saying that sarcastically?
A little bit. He knows how to brand as well. Branding's a big thing with this fan base. You know it.
Yeah, he's good at that. When he doesn't get carried away with it, he's pretty solid at it. I think he's learned a lot. I think he's learned a little bit of maturity. Yeah. So
my question with Nick Sirianni is, and he's very focused. He's hyper focused on, be in the moment, get better today, only think about the upcoming opponent, keep things. And now you've been to the Super Bowl, the human nature aspect of it. Oh, we got to do this again. We got to climb the mountain. And sometimes you got to switch up that messaging with the players, especially the veteran players. Do they tune out to that kind of stuff? That's my only concern.
Well, I don't know. Is it an easy sell for you to say, listen, we really didn't accomplish anything. We had a nice season. We lost the Super Bowl. The goal was to win the Super Bowl. So, fellas, our work isn't done. So let's keep working at it because we got another level to reach. I think that's a pretty easy message to sell it to guys.
All right, I've been throwing this out there for the last couple of weeks, Mike, and I just hope that I'm wrong. I'm not saying, oh, my God, the sky is falling. But my only concern with Jalen Hurts this offseason, I was one of the few, the proud, who said he was a good draft pick. So I've been on the bandwagon ever since. Yeah, I didn't think he's jumping up the way that he did to the second best quarterback. I'm not stupid enough to try and glom onto that kind of credit, but I'm a big fan of the player. He made such a meteoric rise. Is there going to be too much demand on his time? Media stuff, endorsement stuff, everybody wanting a piece of Jalen Hurts, and him being as nice a kid as he is, that he's going to have a tough time saying no. I think pressure is irrelevant. I think he's going to put in the work. I think he's smart as hell. I think he showed his talent. He checks so many friggin' boxes. The one I don't know is he going to be too popular? Is there going to be too much grasp of Jalen Hurts this year? I'm slightly nervous about that. Am I being overly protective?
No, it's a good point. But he's such a different cat, Jody. Is he susceptible to being taken off the message? I just don't see that in him. He's robotic, and I don't know if a guy like that could get carried away with the fanfare of his profession rather than sticking to the profession. I think he wants to be really good, and I think he knows the things he needs to be really good, and one of them is not getting carried away with that other stuff.
Yeah.
If it was a different type of personality, maybe I'd worry a little more. I look at the guy and I go, he's almost too good to be true. He's almost, he can't be human. So some of the stuff that
we're just talking about with Addison. I mean, he's mature. Jeffrey Lurie said it. Most mature 24-year-old he's ever met. I don't know. That kind of stuff. I don't know if it's taught. I mean, his father, Nick Sirianni brings up, they have that in common. They're both sons of coaches. He's adaptable to tough coaching. A lot of people take it in a negative way. He takes it in a positive way, but he's mature. I don't know if that's innate or taught, but it's rare at that age. I wasn't mature at 24. I can't speak for you guys, but most people aren't, as you see with Jordan Addison. I'm picking on that poor kid, but that's dumb. I mean, you know, he doesn't do dumb shit.
You know, he doesn't look like he like looks forward to the fanfare of it, right? So if you don't look forward to it, it doesn't turn you on that much. I mean, you do it obviously because you think it's your job, but if it's like some guys get overly excited by it and it defines them. This guy's like, yeah, okay, it's part of it, but football really is what I'm here for.
Yeah,
So
you never hear Jalen Hurts and FOMO, fear of missing out.
no,
He's got to be there. He's just going to sit down watching some extra film to be better suited to win the game next week.
yeah, I mean, his personality is such a, to me, I don't worry about that kind of thing unless he shows like a visible crack in like change. But he's like he's a very unique athlete that I've seen in all my years of covering sports.
All right, Mikey, Miss, I used to enjoy every once in a while on the radio when you would talk about your choices in movies. And I think we've got a tremendously debatable topic in movies released this week. If you went to the theater and they were showing 2 movies just released and you can only watch 1 out of 2, they got a big guard between the 2 so you can't move into the other theater afterwards. You're screwed. You can only watch 1, but you're in for free. Which one are you watching? Oppenheimer, about the atomic bomb, or Barbie? You can only go to one of the 2 movies. Which one is Missinelli going into?
I can't imagine you would think I would go to see Barbie.
Come on, I hear it's great.
Listen, I raised a daughter and she had the Barbie thing, but I never really knew that much about it. You know, so I have absolutely zero interest except for the fact that it's another chance to see Margot
Robbie. That's what I said. You default. You default to Margot Robbie. Now, I prefer to be the Wolf of Wall Street or something like that.
I mean, I would see her in another kind of movie. I have no interest in the Barbie theme. Oppenheimer is obviously interests me a lot because of the history part of it, but it's also, I got to think it's going to be upsetting. So I don't know how much I would enjoy it beyond the historical significance of it.
Yeah. I'm with you. Margot Robbie's the only reason I'm turning on Barbie.
He's going Oppenheimer by default.
Yeah, by default.
Okay, just checking. Yeah. Mikey Mitz, great stuff. It was good catching up with you, brother. Enjoy the rest of the summer. You know we're going to get you on again as soon as camp opens up. Thanks for doing it today. We appreciate it. And what is it called again? Psycho Bunny? I got to go get a Psycho
Bunny. Yeah, Psycho Bunny.
And don't worry about the backup quarterback. I just, I went down a wormhole, Mike.
John, I'll expect next time we're on, you have a Psycho Bunny shirt or a hat.
Well, you got to get me the contact info. I need the swag, Mike. Yeah, I'm not Mike Missinelli. I got to get the swag.
I always say, Google Psycho Bunny. Google it.
McMullen's going to have to pay for it. That's problem number 1.
Yeah.
Mikey Miss, thanks, brother. Appreciate it always.
Right. Take care.
Mike Missinelli here with us on Birds 365. It just, my daughter, quickly. I got to get out of here. Exit stage left. She works for Comcast in the entertainment department. So part of her gig is she gets to go to movies released ahead of time before they ever come out, premieres and stuff like that. And she saw on back-to-back nights both Oppenheimer and Barbie.
She
flat out loved them both.
Wow.
They couldn't be more different. One about the history of the atom bomb and the other one about an action figure female doll. You can't get any more different than that. But my daughter said that both of them were great. So I thought that Miss and Ellie would have some fun with that. Always have fun when we get Mikey Miss on. All right. Yeah, Johnny Mac, I got to exit a little early today. I'm hopping on CBS Sport Radio, doing some fill in there. You and I will do this thing again next week. By the time we get here Monday, when we return on Monday, will John McMullen have his Eagles schedule?
No, I think I'll get it on Monday, probably after the show.
That is
would
funny.
Be my guess.
That is absolutely funny. I'm sorry. Come on, Eagles. Johnny Mac had the Tennessee Titan media schedule 6 weeks ago. You can't get yours out 3 days ahead of time? for the opening of the season. Come on, Eagle. Who takes the grief from you guys?
If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, you said what term did you use, Jody? I forget. Obnoxious.
Obnoxious. Oh yeah, they're being obnoxious jerks.
If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, they're just being obnoxious.
The obnoxiousness may continue to Monday. John McMullen and I will be back on Monday. Johnny Mac's coming back next here on Birds 365.